Hello, my name's Kevin. I'm the Atypically Yoked. I'm with.
Sardine.
And I feel bad because not only am I not making my independent videos, I have had 2 fails on trying to follow up to the compatibility video. And I suck. I really suck at this.
It's well, you said it wasn't up to your standards, and I respect that.
Well, we have a standard.
We're trying to get one.
So my standard at first was to try to get it out there with all the video and the audio working out well, and putting something up that we can look at and feel pretty okay. By the way, I want to point out my glasses. They're amber. I'm gonna wear them because
He wants to look like Bono.
no, light bothers my eyes, and my eyes are starting to get bad. So, although I went to the eye doctor the other day, and it was weird. I got up to there, I've got Medicare, Medicaid, so like the lowest of low insurances. And they're like, "Oh, you're gonna have to pay for the glasses. Now, have a nice day." And I'm like, "Oh." Even today, my caregiver and an angry lady was sitting there going, "You didn't wait long enough for us to get your glasses." I'm like, "I didn't know I was supposed to wait." And she's like, "You just wanted to leave." And so it's like trying to connect with people in a professional way is hard, because it's like when somebody says, "Okay, goodbye, have a nice day," you think, okay, the next thing you're going to do is leave.
Yeah.
And what I did was leave. And she was like, "No, you're not supposed to leave. You're supposed to wait for someone to to figure out your glasses."
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I thought. But when somebody says,
Okay, goodbye.
and yet, evidently that means wait. So that happened this week. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, we made some notes to try to keep us on track and have a coherent follow-up video to the compatibility. So we'll go through them.
Should we explain the shortcoming of the last video where I thought it was going wrong?
If you want.
Well, I felt we were making a one-to-one comparison that, yes, someone was going to be my better half.
Mm-hmm.
They were going to have to deal with some physical aspects of my being.
Right.
Which I do think is true. But I wanted to create a situation where it was a bit of a sliding scale rather than a one-to-one, because I have a staff of people that come in. I have 4 caregivers.
Right.
And I think if any one person were to do it all,
it would be too much.
That would be a lot.
Yeah.
They would burn out pretty quick.
Right.
So I wanted to come back and say,
make more of a broader picture of the
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, when they're looking at romantic relationships, they project a lot.
Mm-hmm.
All of my happiness is going to come through this one person. I think that's true of all marriages, if you will, that they think that.
Yeah.
And then
they get through the honeymoon stage.
And you find out you're not the person I married. No, I'm not the person that you married in your head. But I am here, and you have my DNA in you now. So what are we going to do about this? So, I mean, I want to come at this in a reasoned and logical and realistic way.
Right. Not just, yeah. A more whole picture than just one dimension. Or
because I think romantic romantic feelings and romanticism in general is a spice to life and can make life seem more bearable.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, that kind of person or that kind of that which you get out of romanticism, I do not embody.
Yeah.
Very well. What are we doing?
I'm just. There was a verse that came to mind.
Genesis 2:2. Okay. Well, anyway, what I'm trying to say is one time when I was on eHarmony, I had gotten. I didn't say that I was disabled in it.
Okay.
And when I had communicated with somebody 3 times, 3 back and forths. And then I said, "Oh yeah, I'm disabled." "Oh, I hear it in your voice." And then she figured out, "No, I'm in a wheelchair."
Yeah.
She got really upset really quick and just eviscerated me.
Yeah.
And this was a so-called Christian that, look, I'm not trying to pull anything over on anyone. I am just trying to figure this out because it seems to me there's somewhere in Scripture where it says it's not good for people to be alone.
Yes.
And I would like to experience that at some level at some time. What are we looking at here?
Oh, I was just looking up this verse in Genesis.
And did you find it?
Yeah. So.
Oh, you're actually
a helper. Yeah. It is not good that man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him.
Yeah, given the fact that I'm disabled, it kind of makes that into.
Yeah. There's a work that God has given you to do, even if it's more limited than, or it's limited in.
What?
It's limited in certain ways, but God is still giving you work to do, and
okay.
And there is, I believe, a helper that would be fit for you as well, even in whatever role you find yourself in. It could amplify and help you in that.
Well, I would look at that and say I think we're I think it's good to think that way, but I don't want to go at this in idealistic.
Sure, yeah, it's just kind of a point of thought.
Now, I would like to say that I do have a work ahead of me.
Right.
In trying to maintain caregiving, I would like to set up a living arrangement that's a little different.
You like to provoke people to think. You like to challenge some of the status quo thoughts that people are having.
Especially when I suffer because of it.
Yeah, well, okay. But it's for, it affects you personally, but it's also important for everyone.
I would think so.
And you're working on making videos towards, to try to fulfill some of these things. So there is, even in your state, you're working. You're trying to accomplish something of value.
Well, especially since, some people around me, I'll say that, seem to feel that I bite off too much that I could chew.
Yeah, maybe
maybe I do.
Helper fit for you.
Well, anyway, so what does this?
What
does this no Walt look like?
So we
not
kind
all
of
women are like that, right?
Well,
no Walt.
No Walt.
It's trying to find the woman that breaks the norm.
Yeah. So for anyone, it's important to be equally yoked, but there's some points of compatibility we kind of talked about beforehand.
Okay, so let's bring that up.
Do you want it on the
screen?
No. Okay. No. So comparable/compatible life circumstances.
So let me ask you this. Must I mate only with people with cerebral palsy?
No.
I'm trans species! Wow!
No.
Oh,
Cerebral palsy is not a species.
Well, I once had a guy at Mars Hill. We were up at the Easter event. He comes up and he's like, "Are there other women in wheelchairs that you can date?" And I'm like, "I'm not a species."
Yeah.
That guy got so frazzled, he went all the way back to his other station and just looked at me, pointed out to me to the other guy and said, just kind of stayed away. He later apologized. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you don't need to apologize. But
I think a point of compatibility would actually be that they're not physically handicapped.
Okay.
Because I think to be a fit helper for you would involve somebody that's not physically disabled, at least not as much as you are.
So I need some physical diversity.
Yes.
Yes.
Some good healthy differences.
Okay.
You're not looking for a mirror image of yourself.
Let's look at the flip side of that. Does somebody need to be like CrossFit, physically fit, or what are we looking at here? In your view,
I would say there's quite a diversity of body types or physical fitness.
Now you brought over your fiance. Hi, nice to see you again. It's one way. Don't talk to me. It's
maybe she'll comment.
She will. But you, me, and her went on a walk around the area.
Yep.
And I've been wanting to take you on this walk for a while. Why? It's hard.
Yeah.
Was it hard?
It was a good walk.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, even though I was in the wheelchair, and we had some footage that we should put that in at some point in time.
Yeah.
But I had some footage. Anyway, it was not an easy walk. I would say it was rather advanced for a person in a wheelchair, because what you don't know is a lot of people in wheelchairs are freaked out by cars.
Yeah. Well, we were freaked out for you several times. Like, he's going to run off a curb. He's going to swerve out into the street at the wrong moment.
Yeah, I'm pointing all these out. Oh, that's a danger. That's a danger. And how did I approach these dangers?
With reckless abandon. No.
Okay.
How would you describe it?
I would say with cautious.
Yeah, you were careful.
I'm careful, but I know my limits.
Right.
And here's...
You never went off a curve. You never swerved out in front of a car.
I knew what I was doing. And most recently, a buddy and I, from the church, we went on a 7-mile walk.
Nice.
Down one of these rails to trails. And I would really like to make a go at...
So you're saying that somebody who might want to get in better shape than they are might be a good match
Bingo!
for it?
Somebody that's not quite there but needs incentive to go out and do more, I can certainly provide that.
Yeah. So,
along with the tongue lashing that goes with it.
Yeah. Well, and you've lost quite a bit of weight through just dieting and some minimal exercise, but mostly dieting.
Here's the thing. Back there, that's that bar back there with the right up here, that's my bench press and things of that nature. And I can work out with that. The problem is caregivers hate it when I work out because they have to do something. So whenever I won't want to work out, I have to go, are you feeling okay, caregiver?
So you're looking for somebody who is as willing to work hard as you are.
I think that would be an appropriate equal yokement.
Yeah.
And I would like to do way more. I have a $3,000 wheelchair over here that I never use because
Caregivers don't want to help you do it.
well, they can't walk more than 100 yards without complaining. I mean, I once had someone at church say, "Oh, I wish you would go more walks." Yeah, someone that could do that. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I don't have anyone that can do over 100 yards.
Yeah.
And that's the thing; they're not willing to do it. It takes
What?
Batteries.
Uh-oh. It's still running. It's just low.
All right, we'll continue on.
Yep.
All right, what's next?
Hustle. No, so I moved up health consciousness because we were kind of talking about that.
No,
so.
I mean, here's the other thing. I take vitamins. I lose weight. I am a big advocate of intermittent fasting. I lost 70 pounds.
Yeah.
Didn't you say you watched a video of me as was late?
I got a recommendation for a video of you from YouTube from a year ago, and I was like, "Wow, you were really fat back then."
And,
I was like, but it's noticeable how much weight you've lost,
right?
When you
Right.
look at that old video.
Yeah, I think that's worth pointing out because that is an accomplishment. I also have a graduate degree from the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and
So that's one of we're touching on another point there that you are hoping to find somebody who's a lifelong learner.
yeah, I mean, if I watch a YouTube on Kant or Nietzsche, I don't want somebody who's gonna go, "Oh, that's not Christian." Well, so is most of the world. What?
Somebody's willing to learn
Well,
and talk about different things.
I once watched a video where it talked about the killing of a bunch of Chinese people in Indonesia in the 1960s, and this one guy who participated in this genocide, he was like, "Oh, we had a gamelan music off in the corner," and somebody asked him, "Why do you have gamelan music in the corner?" And he's like, "To make the killing beautiful." Well, here's the thing. Other cultures have different ideas.
Right.
And if we can't at least talk about them in some sort of dispassionate way, then we can't say good, bad, or otherwise. And I think a large part of Christianity is being able to look at something and go good, bad, or
Yeah.
neuter. Yeah.
So I think we're logically the independent competencies is a good place to go from here.
Do you know how to weld?
In other words, can you do things that Kevin can't and do them well?
Well, there are
Maybe
lots
not
of
welding specifically, but
well,
it would be a useful one.
it would be because I have lots of ideas, and I like the idea of building things. And you know, if I was with somebody that knew how to weld and was competent and different, I mean, I would look at this and go, "That's a plus. I can use that."
Yeah.
I also like permaculture, you know, batteries and other things that relation to wheelchairs and adaptive equipment. As a matter of fact, I worked with the guy at church to make a new lift.
Yeah.
And it
Using
worked.
an engine hoist. Or
A winch.
Engine winch, that's right.
Just a winch. And we were able to put it up there. I love matching tools with things that we can do.
Yeah.
And I think there's a real need for it.
You're looking also, you mentioned a willing hustle partner. In other words, somebody who has drive and is willing to be creative and...
Well, I think in a lot of ways, people are looking for someone to augment what they're doing.
Right.
And, I look at myself, and to look at me, it's hard to know where the compatibility is, because I'm so easily discountable.
Maybe somebody to...
But I mean, here's the thing. With the help of my mother and one other caregiver, Angry Lady, that's her name, Angry Lady,
Okay.
we were able to make a urinal that I can use that's hands-free.
Right.
I think it's awesome. I think more people should use them. But most people just go to the bathroom in the toilet. It's not cumbersome for them to go to the toilet.
But for people that it might be a great product.
Yes, and for people that it is, I would like to take a run at trying to help spread the word on these things, because I think once the people that care for these people realize, what? Yeah. I don't have to run back and forth so much. It's like, yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. I think we kind of talked about ability to talk on different things, but that kind of leads into able to get along with each other and a sense of humor.
Here's the thing. I don't identify as politically disabled.
Yeah.
I want to run. I want to look. I once was at Starbucks in Hawaii, and I was sitting there with the PhD professor in Hawaii on disability studies, and he nearly choked on his coffee when I said, I don't want to be seen as disabled. I want technology that makes the disability moot. I don't want it to be an issue. He, on the other hand, wanted to look at it as ways of transfer of wealth. I'm disabled, therefore, give to me. Right. And then he's looking at going, oh, look, the disabled people need more money. Oh, look, I have a job trying to hook up people with disabilities with money. Aren't I a good person? And what I was trying to let him know is I didn't want to make a way for him to have a say on my life.
Right.
Because a guy like that, they don't care whether I'm a good Christian or a bad Christian. My Christianity is moot to them. And to me, it's the most important part of my life.
The bureaucracy is there to justify its own existence.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I don't want to be on the bureaucracy. I want to be a part of a community that serves as well as being served.
Yes. So you value a sense of humor, some dry, sarcastic, British Aussie. I
love that crucifixion scene from The Life of Brian. Always look on the bright side of life.
And we will not play that so we don't get a strike.
Right. But no, it's like you're on the cross. You can always look on the bright side of life. You would not believe in people I was smacked that say that. But, okay.
So, let's see. Where do we want to go next?
Well, let's...
Maybe that one?
Let's go to that one.
Willing to take on role of caregiver in partnership with other paid caregivers.
I want to point out that, let's say, for example, I ask you to get me a glass of water. That's that's a pretty innocuous thing. What's not innocuous or inconsequential is when I need someone to dump my urinal.
Yeah, it's not that bad. I did it once.
You did in a way that had some thought put into it pre you doing it. My mother, on the other hand, one time she was like, I'll be right back. You pee, I'll be right back. She left me downstairs with a full urinal between my legs and just went to bed.
Oh my gosh.
And like, she comes down the next morning. I had held on to the urinal the whole time between my legs, pretty much staying awake all night holding it, with the light on in my face. And she comes down, she's like, oh, sorry. Yeah.
That reminds me of this point up here.
Go ahead.
Went through something hard that made them anti-fragile. So somebody that has a history that has prepared them for the tough realities of life.
I think that's a very important thing because it's hard to project patience and kindness to people outside of my circle if I'm constantly fighting people in my circle.
Mm. Yeah, and one of the points I think you were making up here is that you have a lot of like wishy-washy kind of, like there's some wishy-washy people that is just, that doesn't work.
No.
In a partnership with you, that wouldn't be...
I have a friend, we went out camping for the first time. We forgot water. So we went down the creek and we were like, we're going to boil water over a fire. We couldn't do that either. And we suffered. And we were like, fine, let's go. We need some water. We drank 2 gallon jugs. And it was at least half a gallon of water each.
Yeah.
But we didn't complain about it. We just did what was necessary.
Right.
Once we realized we're a couple of incompetent boobs in the woods, we're like, all right, let's go somewhere, take this symbolic money and present it to somebody for actual valuable things. And see, that's the thing. From that time on, I'm never without water. I never... And that's...
Some hard lessons learned.
Yes.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, if we forget something, if something is not there, let's just recognize it and do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not, it's like, put on the list, let's just deal with it and move on.
I think that point leads very nicely into the next one, which is debt averse.
Again, long-term thinking.
Yes.
I want to think as long-term as I can.
Yeah.
And debt should be something that we use as a tool.
Sure.
But not...
Yeah, not as...
Well, right. You're getting... You told me that you're getting a certain credit card.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're going to put the wedding on it. And you're going to get a certain amount back.
Yeah, it works out to about 17 or 18% cash back.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I use my credit card. I pay it off every month, and the credit card company gives me money to do their credit card.
Right. You use the system against the system. But at the same time, you were talking about, like, you're personally debt-free, but you would be willing to deal with somebody who has debt as long as they want to be out of it and are willing to work on that.
And are making steps and can provide proof of making steps to reducing that debt.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing. If I have hard enough time fighting myself, I don't need to fight somebody else to do what they said they were going to do.
Yeah.
And
so I think these last couple things are kind of overarching. And
okay. Won't you read them out?
Yeah, so Kevin obviously has cerebral palsy, and the other person will probably have some serious problem that lowers them on the so-called marital marketplace.
Okay, now you got your examples given.
Yeah.
Why don't you read that out, and let's see how this works.
Okay, so for example, a reformed trans man that now desires to live as her God-given gender and role, tradcon.
Okay.
Or somebody with a body count that is also disease-free.
Okay. Now, what about on the other side of that? Let's say a single mom.
Yeah.
I have a caveat. You need to be good with your kids.
Right.
If you do not have a good relationship with your kids, I'm not coming in to be daddy.
Right.
As a matter of fact, my stepdad tried that. It didn't go well with me.
Yeah.
It won't go well with those kids. I'm not their dad. Their dad is their dad. Unless their dad is dead. You know, that brings up a lot of things. And the fact of the matter is, kids complicate things a lot.
Yeah.
Am I willing to go with the single mom? Sure. Case by case.
Right.
Because I think a lot of single moms are looking for a guy to solve their problems.
Right.
I can advise, I can help, but I can't solve your problems like you can solve problems for me.
I mean, sometimes advice and help thinking clearly, and if they're willing to go along, with the good counsel.
But what about encouragement to follow through? Examples of when things go well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my caregivers hate me more and more every time I say, see, that worked out well. It's almost like they want me to be hurt so they can be right.
Yeah. Well, that's not a very good emotional cycle.
Well, I would say borderline abusive, but that's my life.
Yeah.
And I would like to see my life change. All right, let's go with that.
So the last kind of overarching point is both should feel like they are marrying up. Neither should feel like they are marrying down.
And that's largely interpretive.
Yeah. I think there's going to be strengths and weaknesses each person has, and they should complement each other, and you should feel lucky to have found each other.
And I want to say this. If you're interested in me as a partner, if you will, let's go on a road trip. Because I want to turn up the heat. I want to see what you're like when you're frazzled, when you're not at your best, when you just had traveler's diarrhea, when we're both having traveler's diarrhea. That's what I
Trial by fire, apparently, with Kevin's dating plan.
I'll say it this way. In DS9, when Worf got married, and he comes up with the pain sticks, that's kind of who I am.
All right.
Because if we can go out and we can get stuck and laugh and be and really not look at it as life or death, but look at it as even if we die, we'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
And the question is, how do you and I want to go out? Do we want to go out just people holding hands around our bed as we drift off to sweet nappy time? Or do you want to be out there doing it and be like, oh, crap, I died. Oops. I want to die well.
Mm.
I want to die
That's
free.
not to say you have a death wish, but
no.
But you don't want to be fearful and stuck doing nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stuck in infantilized.
Right.
Because the people doing the infantilization, they're doing it for a reason. The reason is it suits them. I want to be around wild, creative, prosperous people.
Yeah.
And not prosperous for our own sake, but if you got some FU money, you can promote things that are important to us. Like, you ever go I-5?
Yeah.
You know that guy with his sign?
Oh, yeah. He has all kinds of fun messages up there.
I would love to have a sign out on I-5.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. Promoting my message. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yeah.
I think we should be doing more things like the Babylon Bee.
Right.
I mean, Elon Musk bought Twitter
Yeah.
because he's like, I don't like how you're treating the Babylon Bee.
Yeah. That's great.
And by the way, Elon, do us a solid. Make Jesus your Lord and Savior, please. Because he's worth it.
Amen.
Well, all right. Well,
seems like a good place to land the plane, no?
Yes. My name's Kevin. I'm the Atypical Cripple. I'm with
Sardine.
And see you on the next month.
Adios.